Hello everyone, Nathan here. Today is the final, long awaited, by many I'm sure, part 3 of unwrapping mobs, or even just for mods, in Minetest. So today we are looking at this little goat I made here. It's kind of got some animation. None of the animation really affects anything at all that we're doing today. So we're going to hop into edit mode, and actually, you know what? We'll go over to UV edit mode here. You'll see I have a little screencast key thing here, so you'll know what keys I am pressing. So we have the goat, and we can, so here, we're going to edit mode, and we select everything and hit U, and we can unwrap. And that gives us this really ugly looking bit, which looks really ugly. Yeah, I wouldn't want to use that as my texture channel. Let's try, maybe it's something we can just kind of not have to worry about unwrapping it all and let Blender figure it out. So let's do a smart UV unwrap. A lot of pieces, but it looks kind of orderly. You'll see as we click on the pieces here, the coinciding face in Blender is selected. Definitely could be better. There's a lot of pieces here we'd have to do, especially with these little ones, quite a bit of organizing to make this stuff really work in a fashion that would be easy to use. So let's do some unwrapping. Each leg we're going to want to be its own piece, and they are because the meshes don't connect into the body. But using the analogy that I used last time of cutting it and laying it flat out of paper, we're going to cut each leg like so. So when we unwrap it, we'll have a flat piece and we'll have a little square tab on the bottom, which is the lower part of the foot. Which actually, if we unwrap that right now, looks like right here is kind of that setup. I think if I select it, yeah, right there. And we see that here, 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 and it looks like one's right here. So there are our 4 legs already unwrapped for us. So that was pretty easy and painless. Let's try and get these horns now. I'm thinking we'll do something very similar. Do a slice through there. And then we'll do the tops around like that. Seems you usually want... Oh no, I don't know what I just did there, but I did not want to do that. Seems you usually want to be as hidden as possible. Just because seams will show up sometimes if your textures don't match perfectly. So let's see, we got our 2 little horn bits. Those are looking good. The legs, it looks like, have been moved to different locations this time. But not to worry, that's not a big deal. We'll be moving everything at the end anyways. We're going to cut the little beard part here right off of poor Mr. Goat. No, I want to select that piece, not that. And the reason for that is because obviously he's going to have a really contorted looking face. So we're going to cut that. And we'll do like we did on the legs. We'll cut it so it folds open real nice. And we'll mark seams on that, so that's good. And while we're at it, let's jump over to the tail and do the exact same thing that we just did for the beard and the legs. Mark seams, so that'll unfold really nice. For the body, I'm thinking we'll just do each half. Not that piece. It gets so difficult to click the right faces sometimes. I'm just doing that. Mark seam there. Let's unwrap, see what we're looking at. Whoa, now we got some really... I don't know what's going on there. Let us cut the main body in 2 pieces. So we'll kind of have the top and the back, and the underside and the front. Those 2 will actually be able to stack on top of each other. I'm assuming that's this piece here and this piece here. And these are the 2 sides. So we'll stack those on top of each other so we can reuse the same texture form. The neck is just an open, I'd say cylinder, but it's a cube. There is no front or rear face to it, so I really only have to put one slice in that. And that'll unwrap. Oh, why do I don't know what I does. Inset, I think? I don't want to inset anything. I want to unwrap. Wow, it looks like this is our neck piece here. Kind of wavy, but that's alright. So we're just looking at this mess, which has got to be the face. And we do want to draw a face on this character. I call him a character, but he's a goat. So we're going to do a loop going through kind of both ways here. Like that. Let's unwrap. I think I forgot something. Oh, yeah. There's something there that needs to be... Oh. Yeah, let's cut... We have to cut at least one side. Don't actually have to cut both. There we go. So now we have... I think that's actually set. We have... Let's change this to face select mode. And go to solid. We have his face, and those will be his two sides where the eyes will be. It's kind of further back up. And this will be wrapping around the top and the lower chin. We have the neck there. One side piece. Side. Bottom and front. Top and back. Horn. Horn. A beard. Leg, leg, leg. And a leg. Alright, so let's start stacking these parts. And we'll be throwing them... No, actually, first, before we do that, let's create a sample background here. So we'll just hit new. Gonna use a 256 by 256 size, and I'll do a color grid. Oh, you have to select everything to do that. Color grid. There we go. So we have a color grid. Let's change this to textured. Here we kind of see now in colored form all of these pieces. And I think we can actually do something here, a snap to pixel, which may not be a bad idea. Let me move this real quick. UVs, 11 ramps. Oh, here, snap to pixels constraint to image bounds. So that's already set up for us. I probably had it set up from when I made the doodad initially. Let's throw this leg up in the corner. And then we'll grab this leg. And actually doing that, we're going to pretty much be guaranteed that these all match perfectly. Which is sweet. So all the legs are now sharing the exact same materials, which means you only have to design it once and all four will look the same, which is nice. I think we're going to do the same for these two body parts here. I really see no reason why not to. It's like those don't match quite, and that could be something out of my control. Nope, I didn't want that one. Wait, is there not a... There we go. Okay, they won't match perfectly. Doesn't really matter too much, though. So we have that. This, I think, is the tail piece. Because it's only a goat, his tail isn't really super important. You know, it's not like we need any great amount of detail there. So we'll just move those over. The horns, I'm going to use the same textures for both. We'll probably do like little rings around them for growth or something, I don't know. The neck can be the same material as the body is, and these are the two sides. Again, I'm not going to really be putting anything on those, so those can all just sit on top of each other. The beard, same thing. Oh, that was weird. The beard is the same thing. It can just be there. It doesn't matter. This one I am curious about, because we're putting the face on this part, so I want to make sure that the face is going to be, and that is upside down. So let's rotate this around. So the face. Yep, the face will be the right direction. So up will be up on this. Let's see what this is looking like right now for scale and ratio. Okay, I'm seeing some big problems here. Basically what we want to have happen is these white outlines should be pretty much the same size throughout. So the face and the head here, they're all connected, so they're all the exact same size. This neck looks like it probably needs to go a little larger. Not a problem, though. We have plenty of material to work with. It's kind of hard to say if that's right. You can really... Yeah, that's probably good. I just throw that anywhere. The horns... Yeah, I don't know. They can't stay in that corner. They need more space. Now, they're not going to have as much detail, but I do want to get them an okay amount. So I'm thinking something like that. And I might move this. I don't know why I keep selecting the little beard part there. Select that, and we're going to move it right about there. Okay, these legs definitely need more detail to them, because they are super tiny right now. The two body parts here, and that beard we're going to scale up. I do have this set up so everything has to stay within the bounds, which is why you'll see it kind of start scaling goofy. So that we do have to watch. In my case, you may or may not set your files up the same way. Now I'm having a problem where this little beard is sticking with those two body parts, and I don't want that. Let's see if I can't. There we go. Get just a little beard. Select two body parts, move them, scale that up. Gives me a bit more detail in that. Now I have a problem though, because I need more detail in the legs. And I don't really have too many places to go with them. Right there. Ooh, hey, wait though. By moving the legs out from there, I just cleared up space here. So I can put the legs in a little larger. All right, how is that looking? From what I can see, that beard needs to be a little larger. But otherwise, that's looking pretty... Oh. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. That's probably a little too large. There we go. It's probably alright. Yeah, that's looking nice. I think that's good. So, now let us get to the texturing part. So, to do that, let's export this. Export UV layout. I'm doing 256 by 256. Whatever size you're using, and just what you put in there, and it'll use whatever size yours is set to when you unwrapped. Don't worry if you use a different size than you want to save your image as. You can always scale it later. Minetest will not worry about it. It'll just scale it to the size to fit. I'm just going to call this UV example, I think. Let's save that. And then let's launch GIMP. Of course, you can use any editor you want. GIMP, Photoshop, Paint, Krita. Doesn't matter. Anything, as long as it can open and save the right file formats, it'll work. Oh, hey, what did I do wrong? I have a UV example with nothing in it. Did I have to have those selected? I shouldn't. Export UV layout. Would help if all UVs is selected. And yeah, we'll export over that. I think I'm going to have to reopen it though. Or should I probably need to close view and then open it. Otherwise it's going to say it's already open. Don't you want to just reload it? Like, no, I don't want to reload. Okay, why is this not working? Am I opening the wrong? No, it's the right file. UV example. Why is there nothing to it? Export UV layout. Export UVs from the modified mesh. I'm going to call it UV example. Let's see if that's saved right. Well, now it works. Okay, I don't know what was going on there, but it looks like it's working right now. So there we go. We now have our UV example here. We're going to create a new layer right away. And we will work on that layer. I'm going to put that layer below this upper layer, though. Okay, I'm going to use the pencil because it gives a firm edge, and I don't want to be dealing with anti-aliasing at the moment. Brush size of 10 will be fine. And we're just going to kind of color his foot area here in. And I'm going to do that. That's the bottom of the foot. Theoretically, no one will ever see that unless somehow you're standing under a goat. And then we'll take this brown and we're going to do one line through, I think, Control-Shift constraints. Yep. So he'll have like a little brown line there. And then we can kind of do some random points coming up. And because this is wrapping around, we want to make sure that this point and this point are the same height. So it'll look consistent, which it will do with what I just did there. His face. Yeah. Now, I did a face for this before, and didn't really turn out the best, so I'm just going to do it again. Kind of give him two little nostril things there. Some big white eyes. Color those in. And then give him, of course, the little black spot. Where do we put the horns? Here the horns are. Horns, I think, should be kind of a gross, like, earwax, yellowish. Actually, very similar to this color here. Let's make the brush, ooh, not that large. Let's try like 20. There we go. Just paint this in. But I think he should have like little, I don't know, rings going around his horns or something. So I'm going to change down to a 1 pixel brush. And we're going to do something that goes along. Again, we're going to match up with the lines that are here, because that'll pretty much ensure that things match on the mesh. If it's off by 1 pixel, I don't think anybody's really going to notice. So we'll do something like that. We'll turn off the UV layer there so we can see what we've got going. It's alright. That needs to be filled, though. I'm just going to fill it with black. Okay, so let's save this. Now I'm going to export as UV example. We'll just do 01. Leave the default values. You could save directly over. I just like to save it as a copy in case something goes terribly, hideously wrong, that I haven't lost all my work. We're going to open an image here. And it's going to be example 01, which is one. Oh yeah, because it's all transparent. That's right. Okay, so here we have it. The little feet are looking nice there. The face looks terrible. Let's go ahead and edit mode so we're not seeing that. Horns could be better, but not horrible. He's way too dark though. He needs some material in there. So let's generate something up. Let's put a new layer in here. Let's throw that below this layer. And then on there, filters, render, clouds, solid noise. Let's give it some more detail. I think that's too fine. Let's do like 0.5 and 0.5. I want it to be a real smooth gradient going through, but with lots of pixely detail. That's going to actually look really bad, come to think of it, because it's going to be cut in pieces. Seams are going to be super obvious on this. Okay, one thing I like to do is, instead of just using normal, change my blend modes. Kind of play around with them. That one evidently is a bad one to use. Multiply can work well. It kind of just gives a little extra grain to the textures, which kind of gives them that Minetest-esque look. I forget what I normally use here. Yeah, definitely not that one. Not that. I just did this a minute ago. Burn. See, but because of that texture, that's not... You know, I'm going to do it anyways. Oh, wait. Why aren't his eyeballs visible? His eyeballs went away. That's no good. Well, we can always paint those in onto this lower layer. I'm just going to make my brush a little larger, about 4. Oh, and that's going to make the black disappear too. Well, we'll just repaint the black in too. No biggie. Alright, let's export this. Launch Blender. Alt-R in the window will reload that. There we go. We kind of have a really bad texture on him, honestly. This part on the front matches. Then you get to like the butt end here and it's going the wrong way. But that's pretty much the basics of it. The two big things to keep in mind are the scale of your UV layout here, and then just the size of your image. You can only put so much detail in. I mean, you can see it looks pretty pixely here, but that's kind of what people expect when they're playing a game like Minetest. So that's all right. That looks nice. So we're going to export this now. I always do OBJ just because you can't import them easily. And when we export it, if there is animation, if it's an animal or a monster or something, you're going to want to use animation. Selection only is useful if you have multiple items in the scene. I'm actually going to make sure I am selected on the go. So I am going to do selection only because I don't need to be exporting cameras or lights or anything. Smooth groups, leave that alone. Right normals, may as well include UVs, yes. Right materials, don't need to. Minetest does not use that file, so we don't need that. Material groups, blah blah blah, those can all be left as they are. And then we're just going to save this to, whatever location you want to save it at. I'm just call it go. And export it. Which for some reason is taking a minute. There we go. It is done. And then we just load this up, which I showed you how to do in video part 1, which you should have watched. If you haven't, why are you watching part 3? But kidding aside, hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Of course, if it was something a little more detailed than just a goat that has kind of fur, and you were actually doing texture throughout the material, you wouldn't be able to stack things quite as much as I did. You'd probably still be able to get away with stacking the legs, because those honestly will look fine using pretty much the same material, or at least the both front legs and both rear legs. But yeah, you probably couldn't get away with a mess like that. But yeah, it's really just scaling things, fitting everything in as close as you can so you can pack the most amount of data into this one size here without going crazy overboard with a texture. And then picking your seams wisely so they're not going to be super visible like I did a bad job of. And like on his face here, and this is a lot due to how I did the texture on the background there. I just wanted a quick and easy mess. It's pretty obvious that these things don't match up. Colors are complete opposites there, so it's obvious there's a seam on it, but at least it makes sense to be a seam there. It's an edge. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful, guys. Sorry part 3 took so long to get out, but It's finally here. The series is done. Hoorah! Let the textured mods begin. Catch you next week, and thanks for watching.